The minute you're on a floating bed, you will understand this because your body feels it right away. I'm sure you.
Right away. I felt it within 5 minutes. And actually, I had a friend describe it perfectly right before I set up the bed. She said that she felt high afterwards. And I think what she meant that she had like energy and circulation and almost like prana flowing through her body that she didn't have before. And I feel exactly the same way. Actually, to now go into like a static bed feels bizarre.
Yeah.
You know, like it's almost unbelievable. I'm like, I don't know how I'm ever going to sleep on something static again. Like it just doesn't feel like, it feels so natural to sleep on the bed. And you know what? There's no adjustment period either.
Yeah.
Everyone's asking me like, was there an adjustment period or how long did it take to get used to it? You don't have to get used to it.
Yeah, because people expect it's going to be like a waterbed. You know, that's the only experience they have is something like that. And they think, oh, well, it's going to be uncomfortable at first and I'll have to get used to it. But the opposite is true. You get on this bed, your nervous system instantly says, you're safe now. Mother is at home. You can relax. You're not going to fall off. And please keep doing this. Because, see, your body can't speak English or any language. It has a two-word language, pleasure and pain. If you're asleep and dreaming, you have happier dreams. And by the way, there's actual science on that too. Subjective scientific studies. People have happier dreams when they're floating or when they feel this perfect motion.
Right. Wow. And why do you think that is?
That's because your body wants you to have more lymphatic flow, and it wants you to have slow wave EEG, which happens when you can relax like that due to the perfect pendulum motion. And the slow wave EEG sends a signal to relax, but also it makes you more creative because it's in those states where we have more fresh ideas. It's not like we're stressed out and anxious. We're more serene. And in fact, if you use the bed as a sofa, when you're sitting on it, everybody gets happier. If you check our website, there's testimonials to that.
Actually, it's so true. I had a slumber party. Well, I've had several slumber parties with my friends. Everyone wants to try out the bed.
Cool.
But I had a slumber party with a bed with a friend of mine, and we were both just laughing.
Yeah.
And it was so weird. I don't know why we were laughing so much, but we were just laughing because it was just so, it was like fun. And you know, it's not like normally when you go to sleep and you're like, okay, it's time for bed. Oh man, it's like I kind of look forward to going to sleep, which is very unlike me.
Yeah.
You know, but I look forward to it. It just feels like an activity in
Yeah.
in a weird way, but an activity where I can be like completely relaxed.
One of the things that people notice right away is that when they go to sleep and lie down, they will lie down, and when they wake up, they'll be in the same position because they didn't need to toss and turn to get the circulation going.
That happened to me.
Yeah.
My very first night in the floating bed, and I move so much throughout the night. I go to the bathroom like 5 times. I like toss and turn. I kick people when I sleep. No one likes sleeping next to me, even my mom. Like it's really bad. But the first night I slept in the floating bed, I remember I put my arms over my head and I put my head on my pillow, which I normally don't sleep with a pillow. And for whatever reason, I woke up in the exact same position.
Happens all the time. We get that over and over. And the other notable thing, and there are several, but the other clear thing is that when you wake up in the morning, not only are you usually in the same position, but you feel more alert and relaxed and less stiff. Because see, this issue we mentioned earlier about getting rid of swelling is fairly profound and noticeable. So when you wake up in the morning after having motion all night, you're not as stiff. You don't need to spend 10 minutes moving around like all creaky and slowly getting circulation. You've had that all night, so you wake up more alert and more clear. And I don't want to oversell this because it's not like, oh, you're going to die in a month in your old bed and you're going to be Superman in this bed. But it's enough of a difference that you can really tell it. And I think a person would be remiss to ignore the difference, because if you want to be healthier and live longer, there's so much science and so much personal experience that motion produces better sleep. Really, you would be crazy not to try this out.
Do you sleep in a floating bed?
I've been doing it 15 years.
And what have you noticed? Like, I know that you travel a lot. So if you're ever traveling and you're not sleeping in a floating bed / sleeping in it, like, are the benefits long lasting? Like, do you feel the benefits of the floating bed for a long time, or immediately when you're not sleeping in a floating bed, does it feel different? Like, can you speak to that?
Well, I think for one thing, it's improved my overall health, so I'm more resilient because I'm an old person now. I'm like 70. So, you know, most people my age are not very actively pursuing things and doing things, but I feel very vibrant. And it is also true, however, on that note, that when I have to sleep in a static bed, I don't feel as alert when I wake up. I don't feel as good. And I feel my energy level very slowly going back to some baseline that I would prefer not to have. And then as soon as I'm home again, or a lot of my friends have floating beds, sometimes I can be on the road sleeping on one. And then that first night, it's like, oh, I'm home again. You know, this is the way we're supposed to live.
If the person next to you or people next to you, if you're sleeping with multiple people, if someone moves, it probably increases the rocking, right?
Yes, and that is a really good observation, because imagine you're on a water bed. Well, the person next to you moves, so you get sloshing, makes you anxious. On a floating bed, when the person moves or gets up, you don't get sloshing. In fact, it's a good thing, as you said, because it causes the pendulum motion. So everyone who has a floating bed, all the couples have an agreement basically that if somebody gets up out of the bed early or goes to the bathroom, purposefully they give the bed a few extra swings so their bedmate can get the more benefit, and it will not wake you up. The person gets up and intuitively, because you don't have the experience, you're thinking, oh, that's going to make me wake up. But no, it doesn't. It just puts you deeper into slumber.
Wow. Oh my gosh, that's so funny. It's only funny because normally we think, wow, it's so hard to sleep with other people. Like they move and then it disturbs our sleep. But in this case, if the person moves, if the person gets up, it helps your sleep. That's so crazy. Do you want to come see my bed?
Sure.
I know we put it up about 2 weeks ago, but I want you to come take a look at it, and maybe you can like talk about the bed a little bit.
I would love to.
All right, we're gonna take you upstairs into my room where I have my sleeping bed. John is gonna like talk about it, and we're gonna look at it, so I'm excited to take you guys.
All right.
All right, so we've decided that we need to do the rest of this interview inside the floating bed. Oops. Okay, yeah, we're in. I have my pull cord, which is basically, it's this cord that when you're sleeping, you can just pull on it a little bit, and then it keeps you moving.
It's great.
Yeah. So, yeah, what else do you have to say what else do you want to tell everyone about the floating bed?
Well, when you're outside or looking at this video, you might be thinking, oh, well, that's a lot of motion. I don't know if that's going to work for me. But when you're in the bed, it's like you're in the center of the hurricane, like it's quiet. Like, so for us, there's no sloshing in the vestibular canals, and our bodies are going, oh, this is great, everything is cool. Whereas if you were outside looking at it and you were seeing this movement, you might think, oh, well, that could make me nervous. But again, you just have to experience this bed.
Yeah, it does not feel like you're moving. Like, you know that you're moving, but it doesn't feel
it
like
feels
crazy.
Like the whole rest of the world is moving and you're still.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, that's a really great way of putting it. Actually, this feels the way that we should be feeling. It feels like this is how I should be moving all the time. And you know what's funny is, like, you know when you go to the ocean and then you have like that remnants of like the ocean, like you feel the motion of the ocean inside of your body.
The sound and the feeling.
Yes. I'm more and more convinced that I sleep in this bed, the more that I'm convinced that that's the way that we should be feeling. You know what I mean? That like we should be feeling that. We should have like motion inside of our bodies.
Yeah. Yeah, there's a lot of tie-ins with motion and waves. I mean, everything is wave function in physics. And so learning more about these waves in all their forms in myriad manifestations is an important thing. And because I'm kind of geeky, you know, I just like to know how things work. And that's kind of how all this information came to me, because I thought about physiology and I had health issues, and I thought, well, what can I do to make myself stronger and clearer and better?
Yes.
Because we all want to live longer. We all want to feel better.
We all want to be stronger. We all want to, I mean, I'm an athlete. That's what I think about all the time.
Yeah.
You know, what can I do to be my strongest, my healthiest, my best?
Exactly. And why settle for anything less?
Yeah.
I mean, why live in a bed that just lays there dead?
Dead bed. I love that you said that.
Yeah. When you could lie in a bed that's contributing to your health and not just taking away from it.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay. Well, yeah, I think that's it. If you guys have any questions, I'm posting this on YouTube, so, which is probably where you're viewing it now. I guess in the comments below, just ask any questions, and then John or I will do our best to answer them. And then, John is playing a show tonight. Like, he's a musician, so I'm going to go and maybe I'll film a little bit of that, and I'll put it at the end of this vid. Okay, bye.
Bye, y'all.
The bus driver. I don't think that she ran off with the bus driver, man. I don't think that's right.
Yeah, so we haven't really gone anywhere. We're still
We love this
talking.
bed, and you will too.
Yeah, and we're talking about philosophy and basically we're just still here, and I don't think it's really hard to get out of the bed.
Yeah.